Hey everyone, welcome to our camp with another recap. The story begins with the father, Fritz, who's a big name in wrestling and undefeated in the ring. But there's one thing he kept chasing and could never get, the championship belt. A few years pass. Fritz and Doris now have 5 kids, but their first child dies very young. Kevin is the strongest of the boys, and his dad clearly favors him. Fritz hopes Kevin will one day win that belt and finally live the dream he never could. David is about to have his first big match, but Mike is totally different. He's not into wrestling at all and is more interested in other things. Still, Fritz keeps criticizing him for not following the family tradition. Despite their dad's pressure, the brothers are really close and spend most of their time together. Carrie's away from home, training hard in another city with the US Olympic team. After retiring, Fritz opens his own wrestling arena where crowds always show up to watch the matches. Everything seems normal until one fight changes their lives forever. Before the match, Kevin and David make a deal with their opponents to make sure they'll be the ones winning. The fight goes exactly as planned, and the victory puts Kevin in the spotlight. A world-famous wrestler challenges him to a fight, and Fritz is thrilled and proud.
Well, we'll have a world heavyweight champion. I can promise you that. Let's move forward.
He tells Kevin that if he wins, he'll be one step closer to the championship title. Before the match, Kevin meets a beautiful young woman named Pam. He's a bit awkward since he's never really been on a proper date before. When Pam hears about the Von Erich curse, she gets curious. Kevin explains that years ago, someone supposedly cursed their family, and ever since then, bad things keep happening to them. The first tragedy was the death of their oldest brother. Pam laughs it off, saying she doesn't believe in stuff like that. Then comes the big match. The arena is packed and everyone's cheering for Kevin. His opponent is brutal and takes control early on. Fritz is watching closely from the sidelines. Kevin gets thrown out of the ring, lands hard, and struggles to breathe. The referee starts counting, but Kevin forces himself up and climbs back in. When his opponent goes for the finishing move, Kevin reverses it and takes control again. The opponent loses his temper and attacks the referee, which gets him disqualified. Kevin wins by default. David rushes in to help his brother out of the ring. Even though Kevin technically won, he feels like he didn't deserve it. His opponent was clearly stronger, and Kevin only won because of that foul. Fritz tries to talk to him, but Kevin feels like his father never sees his effort, only the results. Later, the news reports something shocking. Because of rising political tensions, the US president cancels the country's participation in the Olympics. That means Carrie's dream is over. He comes back home, and everyone's happy to see him. With his Olympic dream gone, Fritz asks Carrie to join his brothers in the ring, and Carrie agrees. Soon, the brothers become unstoppable. Their fame skyrockets, and the Von Erich name spreads everywhere. But the pressure from Fritz keeps getting worse. David starts taking injections just to keep himself going. After the match, Fritz enters the locker room and announces that David's been invited to fight the world heavyweight champion. Even though Carrie is genuinely happy for David, Kevin can't help feeling jealous. Not long after, Kevin marries Pam. At the wedding, Kevin finally feels the happiness he's been missing, and for a while, wrestling doesn't even cross his mind. But then, in the restroom, he sees David throwing up blood. Kevin panics and tells him to take it easy, but David brushes it off, thinking it's just a stomach bug. Kevin sits beside him and admits he's been jealous, but he believes David's going to be the real champion. A few days later, Kevin comes home and finds Fritz sitting in silence, devastated. Fritz tells him they found David's body in a hotel room in Japan. Kevin is in shock. The blood David threw up wasn't from sickness. It was from that. At the funeral, everyone wears black. Fritz orders them to take off their sunglasses and forbids anyone from crying. Even now, he won't let anyone question the family's pride or strength. That night, Fritz insists that one of the boys has to get back in the ring. Kevin and Carrie both volunteer, so Fritz flips a coin and Carrie gets picked. Carrie wins the fight and comes home with the championship belt, but instead of feeling proud, he gets drunk, because without David, the victory feels empty. That night, Carrie goes out on his motorcycle. A few days later, we see him using crutches. The crash cost him one of his legs. He's forced to quit wrestling for good. Kevin and Pam have a baby, But when it comes time to choose a last name, Kevin refuses to pass on his own. With Kerry gone, Mike has to step into the ring. Kevin trains him hard every day, but Mike isn't ready. Still, Fritz forces him to compete. During one match, he seriously injures his shoulder. The doctor says Mike fell into a coma during surgery. Kevin wanders alone through the empty hospital halls, asking himself how his family came to this. Mike eventually wakes up, but he's not the same. He can barely control his body or speak properly, and emotionally, he's a different person. At dinner, the family sits in silence, and Mike feels like nothing but a burden. Without his brothers, Kevin's matches start going downhill. He spends most of his time outside the ring, standing there in the corner, waiting for a tag that never comes. Kerry decides to make a comeback. He puts on a special boot and starts training again despite the pain. Kevin helps him. That same night, Mike takes a full bottle of pills and leaves the house. In the morning, they find a note from him and start searching. A few miles away, they find his body. Kevin tells Pam he needs a few days to pull himself together. Back home, Fritz still forces Kevin and Kerry to train hard, like none of it ever happened. Finally, it's Kevin's turn again. He gets ready for the biggest fight of his career. His opponent is a beast. Kevin charges in, throwing punches with everything he's got. He gets hit hard a few times, but fights back even harder. The ref tries to stop the fight, but Kevin won't stop hitting. He keeps hitting until the ref disqualifies him. Fritz has to run into the ring to pull him off. After that, Kevin steps away from wrestling. He and Pam now have 2 kids and spend all their time together. They need a bigger house, so Kevin checks the arena's accounts and finds out they're completely broke. He tells his dad they should sell the arena to save their lives, but that only makes Fritz furious. Kerry has been traveling for matches again. He comes home for Christmas and gives his dad a gun as a gift. Fritz pretends to be happy and puts it on the shelf. Kerry loses his temper and tells him to just use it right now. Fritz refuses and tells him not to cause a scene in front of everyone. Kevin is the only one genuinely happy to see his brother back. That night, Kerry calls Kevin. He admits he's falling apart. His body's ruined, no federation wants to sign him, and he doesn't know what to do. Kevin tells him to come stay with them for a while, but Kerry says he wants to end it all. Kevin rushes over and finds Kerry's car abandoned on the road. Then he hears a gunshot coming from the woods. He finds Kerry under a tree. He's shot himself with the same gun he bought for their dad. Fritz runs toward them, but Kevin snaps. He attacks his father, trying to choke him, blaming him for everything, believing all his brothers would still be alive if not for him. At the last second, Kevin lets go. After that, he sells the arena without his father's permission and goes back to his family. For the first time ever, he cries in front of his kids and holds them tight. From that day on, Kevin leaves wrestling behind forever. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, you know what to do.